Hello, my name is Jer, and today I'm going to present to you a analysis of my group project. So the group project was a science project I had to do with two other people, Tyler and Zach. The topic of the group project was to research a milkweed plant and the background of the plant, like the location it's growing in and how it got its name. So, starting off, I want to talk about the types of groups. Like you see, there are many different types of groups, such as families, interest groups, service groups, social groups, support groups, and work groups. The group I want to talk about today is a work group. Work groups are a group composed of three or more people formed to complete a task. And that was exactly the type of group I worked in for my group project. We were brought together to complete the research for the milkweed plant. Although we were a work group aren't always healthy because most people are grouped together not by choice and they are just forced to work together. So, as you can see, according to Jonathan Iwanski, PowerPoint on Group Analysis, Part 1, it states that healthy groups have high expectation for their members and they are responsible to each other, rely on each other, work together. They have solid morals and the sum is greater than its part. But in my group, I was the only one working on the project while my other two members just talked and focused on themselves instead of the group project. And it was a pretty big problem, but we figured it out in the end. Next, I want to talk about the group roles in my group. Although it was rough at first, like I said, we still played our roles in the end. Starting off, Tyler McNinn's role is a tension reliever because I remember he joked around a lot when things started to get serious. He would lighten up the mood with a joke. His task role was a seeker. Tyler likes asking everybody for their opinions before I submitted anything. His procedural role was logistic coordinator because he always set up the lab space for us to sit and research the project. Zach was more of the supporting type, so his maintenance role was a supporter. He would encourage us to keep working on the project when he sees that I am annoyed or tired. He would also help interpret or message that we sent to each other. And Zach's task role is analyzer because like interpreting or a message, he analyzed the information. We researched it, and his procedural role is gatekeeper because Zach makes sure that Tyler and I don't over dominate each other during discussions. And lastly, my roles for maintenance were a harmonizer and a mediator. Throughout the project, I helped solve any of our conflicts so the team could work together, and I didn't take anybody's sides. I'm making sure that everybody accepted the solution to the problem, and my task role was a giver which is when I provided and look for the information for the group discussion. And lastly, my procedure role was our expediter and recorder. I helped my group through the times when we were stuck on something for the research by trying to say things that could help them continue on with the research. I also recorded most of the information and group decision we made to keep track of what we're doing, and those were all of our group roles. Now I would like to talk about a group conflict. My group conflict is a issue-related conflict, which is when members' plans can't work because they aren't compatible. So in my group, our biggest conflict was that the group members had different goals and plans from me, and because of that, it was very hard to complete the group assignments. Tyler and Zach at first, they didn't really talk to me, and since they knew each other beforehand, they were more comfortable around each other more than me. So I guess that was what threw us off in the first place, and they didn't help me out much at first because we didn't communicate much. And according to the article, students group work conflict, how to help students resolve it's by Elliot M. and Richard. It states that researching, putting them together, delivering them conflict around work allocation, roles, perception that some are not contributing as much as other by taking responsibility, and blocking of ideas, poor communications, and attempts to dominate the group. And I think that was what made us have that conflict in our group. Also, we had a poor communication, and them not contributing as much as me just made things bad. But in a conflict, there is a solution. We analyzed our problems, which was not communicating and cooperating with each other. All of the members discussed their wrongs and rights. Then we tried to figure out a solution criteria where everyone has to follow in order for us to be successful in our research project. Our solution criteria was everyone had to take part in the research, and then questions for the researching the project that were split up. Also, we evaluate everything that we did so far and what we didn't do yet, and everyone decided that we will communicate through the research more instead of just focusing on ourselves. And after that discussion, Tyler and Zach they helped me out more with the project, even though it was a little bit late and near the end already. And I think that one of the problem in our group was also because Tyler and Zach were both male, and on top of that, they knew each other too, so they were familiar. But because I wasn't like them, so it was harder to communicate and work together more. And according to the textbook Speech Communication by Selnow Verteber on page 115, it states that heterogeneous group is better than homogeneous group. In homogeneous group, members are likely to know the same things and come at the problem from the same perspective. Tyler and Zach, they were in their own little homogeneous group, and by accepting me into that group is going to ruin that. So, which it might have been a reason why it was so hard for my group to cooperate. But no matter what, we still solved the issue in the end and aced the project. And I thank you for viewing my presentation about my group analysis. And here are my citations.